All right. I just wanted to talk about this real quick because this is news that came out today. Um, Rooster Teeth is back, back. Um, Bernie repurchased Rooster Teeth, I guess, or I don't know. He owns it again. Um, and I just wanted to talk about it. What my thoughts are and what kind of theory crafting I'd like to just kind of entertain um, while I'm here. So first of all, my thoughts on it are I am weary, but also curious about what will happen with that brand. Um, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to keep listening, that's fine. But that's pretty much it. I'm just we'll see what happens. So as for like some things, this is just I don't have like a script or anything, so I'm just kind of going off of my thoughts here. I do think that with the channel being purchased again, right? It's going to be kind of difficult to rebuild it from the ground up with the legacy that it has attached to it. I'd like to think, for example, um, just if you were to start the channel and it was like gaming content and it was just like their achievement hunter stuff where they were just playing games and whatnot. I don't think that would be in 2025 would be as successful as like the main thing. There's a lot of people who will do those kinds of like gaming videos and gaming stuff. I feel like there's only really one way that you could really do that would actually work, which they didn't really do a lot of the times because they didn't need to. One of the problems with Rooster Teeth is that it's very personality driven, as in you're watching it for a person that you like in the group, which is why a lot of people who watch Rooster Teeth are always like harping on, man, I wish this guy was back, or I wish this person was here. But ever since they left, it's just not been the same. Stuff like that, right? And then you have like controversies with some of the figures that they have to address or deal with, which also drives people away from the channel. So it's like a double-edged sword where there's only so much you can really do with like a personality-driven channel and be able to be successful with it. I think if Rooster Teeth were to start over again like they are, I think their best bet would be, if they're going to start over again, their first video that they're ever going to upload as coming back is going to have to be, it's going to probably end up being, well, I guess if they had started a completely new channel, it would be their most popular video on their channel, potentially. There's going to be a lot of eyes watching the first video that comes out, or live stream, or whatever they end up doing is like the first thing they upload under Rooster Teeth, under new management. It would have to be very successful. It would have to be a very good video that establishes pretty much everything that is important about what they're going to do and how they would need to retain that. I'd like to think if they're going to do the same thing that they've been doing where they originally started, where it was like you had like 5 guys or whatever, 4 or 5 guys, and they were just playing video games together and they were just hanging out and being bros. Some great examples obviously would be like the Creature Hub or Cow Chop. Those are great examples. I guess you could say to an extent the Game Grumps, where they're both, their personalities and it doesn't matter when you watch it. You know you're watching people that you enjoy watching. Um, I think if they were to do gameplay stuff, obviously with personalities, they should just have a like webcam of some or a camera, just pointing a camera at them playing the game, so we can actually see them hanging out and being together and having a good time. I think that's really important. Having the more down to earth videos were really interesting. Just kind of almost being like you're another friend. That really helps a lot with those videos. Um, so if they're going to go with that kind of angle, they need to, if they're going to have new people, that's going to be the hardest part to convince people to keep watching, is when you introduce new people to the team, right? Like if you introduce a new person, if we're all being honest, you're probably going to be a little bit weary about the new person unless you're a very open-minded person. I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to like this person or not. So what would need to happen is you would probably have to you'd probably need to have like a established personality. So like I don't know, Bernie, and you had like three people that are new and you haven't seen them before. This is your first time seeing them, and over the course of like an hour, right, or whatever, or like 30 minutes or something like that, essentially kind of get to know these three people. Um, I feel like that's a very important thing, and having them be established and be consistent in the content is very important. Because if you have like a new person here and a new person here and a new person here, new person here, and you have people who are coming in who have either they've watched the channel for a long time and they don't recognize people, or they're new to the channel and there doesn't seem to be established consistency with personalities. Another thing that's important is everybody has to be able to like there has to be a connection between all of them that really makes it feel like, okay, they're all friends and there's a lot of chemistry. That's very important and stuff like that. So if they were to do something like that, that also is a huge important thing. And introducing new people would also have to be a slow kind of thing. You can't just introduce a new person, introduce a new person, introduce a new person, because you don't have time to get used to that person. Which is why you see stuff like that's why you see some channels end up like once they get replaced, it ends up losing like views and stuff, and people aren't interested anymore. I guess what Blue's Clues would be a good example. There's probably other examples you could probably name off the top of your head. I can't really think of anything at the moment, but that's a good example, at least for me. But it's really important that you give people time to get used to new faces. So obviously, again, if this is what he's gonna go towards or what he's planning on doing, it's good to do something like that. No matter what they're working on, you need to make sure that if you're bringing in a new face, you have to give it time. I do think it's possible to be successful with that. Obviously, like I would say, even the regulation group, regulation podcast group. I didn't really know the other members originally. I didn't know, like, I knew Gavin and Jeff, but I didn't really know Eric or Andrew originally. And as I've watched their content and listened to their podcast, they've grown on me, and now I really like Eric and Andrew. They're great. And yeah, stuff like that. It's important that you give them time and be consistent with it. That would be my advice towards all that. I do think having different shows, as I feel like the problem with different shows is that it shouldn't all be the same thing in terms of different shows. So I don't think there should be like a billion podcasts, um, or a billion gaming channels or anything like that. I think having a more condensed down um, group of different series that you're going for is very important. And starting new ideas is nice, but it shouldn't be always a thing. It should come in slowly over time, so you give the other stuff more time to be noticed. Um, so like I do think like I do think like something like I would say would probably benefit them greatly would be obviously they should have a podcast probably at some point. Although I'm not that much of a podcast person. I'll get into the whole like hour thing talking about like time yeah. Um they should definitely have something like that at some point. They should definitely have. I mean, I feel like some people would be wanting to come in for some of their gaming content, so they should have a little bit of like gaming content. I do think they should have some kind of interesting show idea that they could do at some point once they actually had some kind of budget to work with. I think like hardcore tabletop was really fun, and it was a great way of introducing a bunch of people that you may have not seen before, having them all play a game with stakes, and it was great. Like a hardcore mini golf, that was great too. Um, but yeah, that hardcore tabletop series was fantastic. I loved it. Bring it back. And then I think I feel like the last thing, the most popular thing, I think a lot of people have a guilty pleasure for, or at least like to watch, would be something food related. It's been a big trend for a very long time, but you see channels like Good Mythical Morning um, go in there, or even like Peanut Butter Gamer, or even Brutal Moose do these food videos, and they get like a lot of views, right? They're very popular. Having an established person eating food is popular. Ranking with Babish, right? Those usually tend to get like over 100,000 views, right? If we're talking about something that gets consistent view watch time and whatnot. Reason for me, at least, I feel like obviously it shouldn't be oversaturated. All this stuff there shouldn't be an oversaturation of content. Because here's the next thing: um, time management. For most people who was watching the channel, they were kids, right? And we had a lot of time when we were growing up watching the channel. So we were able to basically watch like all the videos that were on the channel and just continue having time to watch other videos. Now, as adults, we have about 6 hours out of our day on a work day and 2 days off, where we don't. That's all the time we have. That's all the free time we have a week. For people who have like 40-hour work weeks on average. Some people have even more work hours and they have even less time. So you have to be able to make content that would be worthwhile for people like me who would be willing to take some of that time out of our day to watch your content. Make it make a reason for us to be able to really want to watch your content, but don't oversaturate us with content, because then we're not going to have time to watch everything. We're not going to have time to be able to be a fan because we have other things that we might want to watch that we want to allocate our time towards. And that's the unfortunate part of being an adult and watching a channel that you used to be able to watch like every single day, and now you don't really have that much time to be able to do that. Um, so I think that's very important too, is consistency, but also quality is very important. I would definitely say if you're gonna have to do gaming content, or if you want to do gaming content, do something like Cow Chop, or do something like the Creatures did. Um, I feel like that kind of content, if if it was a thing that I could watch now, I definitely would have watched it, or at least I would watch it now. Because for me, it's like gaming content. I almost never really want to watch it unless it's like live streams nowadays, like Twitch streams and stuff. That's where like I would go for my gaming content if I really wanted to watch gaming content, with an established figure. Um, but yeah, food videos I would say are great for people who are on their lunch break and they just want like a quick like 30-minute or 15-minute video of just people talking about food or eating food. That would be an easy content to make. Um but yeah, I definitely think with these reasons, I feel like if they were to follow that, that would make it a little bit more. I feel like that would make it successful. Um, and another really good thing is don't expand too quickly. Don't be so corporate that it's actually intruding on the content. Um, make it feel like homemade, you know? Definitely, like, it doesn't have to be 100% professional. I don't think people are looking for professional content. Just make it entertaining at the end of the day, and that's more important than flair. Um, keep it interesting, make it entertaining, make it quality. I would even say like even if you just uploaded once a week, that would be more than enough for people to be willing to come back than if you were to upload like twice a week or 3 times a week. I know very few people who were able to keep up with that, not stress out about it, but also be successful with it. I guess a good example would be, I don't know, McJuggernuggets, right? He used to basically upload, I think, like what, 3 times a day, and that was an entire. He had to set up stuff, he had to write a script, he had to then record it, and then he would have to edit it, all within that week. And that was like that's insane. That's insane. Um, so yeah, you don't want to do that. But yeah, I just think we'll see what happens. I just hope, for me, I don't want the first video on the channel that they upload under new management to be them playing I don't know, GTA 5, cuz you're going to get a lot of people who are like, "Dude, this is just like Achievement Hunter, bro. This is just like Achievement Hunter, dude." When, by the way, Achievement Hunter was originally just talking about getting achievements and achievement guides, but then it became like a gaming channel with a bunch of people that you recognized. But yeah, I do think leaving the professional stuff at least behind the scenes, and making sure, at least especially behind the scenes, that everybody can get along, is very important and will go a long way. Don't Not expanding too much would go a long way. I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure a lot of this stuff he probably already knows because he's done it for so long. But yeah, we'll see what happens. That's just my 2 cents on it. I don't know.